We live in this super competitive world, right? We're always told that success is all about having the most talent, the most money, or just getting lucky. But what if the biggest, most powerful weapon you'll ever have is something you've already got? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into today. And this quote, man, it hits the nail on the head. It's the whole foundation for what we're talking about. It's this incredible reminder that our true strength isn't something we can find out there. It's the one thing we always have control over. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to break this whole idea down. First, we'll uncover your mind's hidden power. Then, we'll see how your thoughts literally shape your reality. After that, we'll talk about how discipline can crush fear, how to build resilience like a shield, and finally, the simple things you can do to train your mind every single day.
Okay, let's dive right in. First up, we're going to challenge some of those old-school ideas about what it really takes to get ahead in life. So, look at this. On one side, you've got what everyone thinks matters, natural talent, a bunch of money, or a lucky brick. But we all know people who have all that and still go nowhere, right? And then you've got folks who start with almost nothing and achieve incredible things. The real difference maker, the variable that changes the entire equation, it's your mindset.
Yeah, and this just nails it. Think about it for a second. Your mind is basically the cockpit of your entire life. It takes everything that happens to you and decides what it means. It's the place where you choose if a problem is a dead end or a lesson in disguise.
Okay, so if our mind is the control center, how does that actually work? Like, how do the thoughts inside our head really create the world we experience on the outside?
Check this out. It's like a domino effect. It all starts with one single thought, an empowering one. Something like, okay, I can figure this out, leads to feeling confident. That confidence makes you act with purpose, and those actions, they lead to growth. But the flip side is just as powerful. A destructive thought like, I'm going to fail, leads to fear, which causes hesitation, which gets you absolutely nowhere. And here's the really important part. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist or just, thinking positive and hoping for the best. Not at all. It's about making a deliberate, conscious choice. You're in the driver's seat. You get to choose the thought that kicks off the chain reaction you actually want.
All right, so we get it. Our thoughts are powerful. But knowing that is one thing. Actually putting it into practice is a whole other ballgame. And that leads us straight to discipline.
It's so easy to mix up discipline and motivation. But motivation is a feeling. It's flaky. It shows up when it wants. Discipline, that's a skill. It's a mental muscle you build, and it's what pushes you forward when that feeling of motivation is long gone. It's the bridge between where you are and where you want to be.
But here's the big one. What about fear? Right? That's the one thing that just stops so many of us dead in our tracks. And this is a total game changer. The goal isn't to be fearless. That's not even human. The real goal is to train your mind to see fear, acknowledge it, and then move forward anyway. Courage isn't about not having fear. It's about deciding your goal is way more important than that feeling. Okay, so discipline is our offense. It's how we move forward. But what about our defense? What happens when life inevitably throws a punch? Well, that's where resilience comes in. Think of it as your mind's strongest shield.
Look, life is going to knock you down. Plans are going to fall apart. That is a 100% guarantee. Resilience isn't about avoiding the fall. It's all about how fast you bounce back. It's about adapting on the fly and finding a way to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And this right here, this quote is everything. Asking, why me? That puts you in the victim seat. It's a dead end. But asking, what can this teach me? Wow. Suddenly, that failure isn't an ending. It's just data. It turns a setback into a setup for your next comeback. So this all sounds amazing, right? Discipline, resilience, but how do we actually build these mental muscles? Let's get practical in our final section and talk about the daily practice. Think of it like a gym for your brain. And the best part, look how simple and accessible these workouts are. We're talking reading, taking a few minutes to reflect on your day, meditation, journaling. These aren't complicated things. And pay attention to that last one too, limiting negative inputs. What you don't feed your mind is just as critical as what you do. This is so important. You wouldn't go to the gym for 8 hours once a year and expect to be fit, would you? Of course not. It's the exact same principle for your mind. It's the small, daily deposits that compound over time to build a mind that is practically unbreakable. And this right here is the ultimate payoff. When you've trained your mind, you're the one in charge of your internal world. External events, what other people think, setbacks, they just lose their power over you. You become unshakable. So as we're wrapping this up, if there's one thing to really let sink in, it's this. The biggest walls you'll ever face aren't out there in the world. They're the ones you've built inside your own head.
And really, that's the only question left. Now that you know this, now that you know your mind is your greatest weapon and that you have the power to train it, the only thing left to ask is, are you ready to start breaking down those walls?